Welcome to Canning What You Grow. I'm Holly Baird. This is put on by the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. Well, today we're going to make fruit juice jelly. This is a simple jelly that you can make. It basically only has 4 ingredients and you can make it real quick and fast, and it's something that you can store all year round. We're going to use our pear juice that we made from our pear tree, but you could use apple juice, grape juice, orange juice, cranberry juice, different varieties of juices. You want to make sure it's 100% juice, not any additional additives. And then you also use sugar, lemon juice, and pectin. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to put our juice, and you need 4 cups. So since we have a quart here, that's what we're going to use. We're just going to go ahead and dump that into a non-reactive metal pot. Then we're going to add our lemon juice, and that's a 1/4 cup. We're going to give that a quick stir here. Then we're going to take our pectin. You just use 1 package, which is 1.75 ounce of regular fruit pectin. And when you're getting ready to can, you want to make sure that if you have pectin on hand, that you check the expiration date just to make sure it's not expired. Because if it's expired, I don't think anything would happen to it, but it may mean that your jam or jelly would not necessarily set. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And then I'm just going to sprinkle it around. And we have to let it sit for about 1 to 2 minutes and give it a quick stir. So we're going to let it sit. And our next step after we let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes is getting it onto the stove. So now we've let the pectin sit for about 1 to 2 minutes, and we're going to stir until it comes to a full boil, which is a full rolling boil. And I'll show you what a full rolling boil is once it gets to that point. But while you're waiting for it to boil, you can just stir it. And then you can also get your sugar ready. You need 4.5 cups of sugar. If you feel that's too sweet to you, you could always adjust the recipe and then add a low sugar pectin, but I'm going to leave that up to you. Another thing you need is a slotted spoon, because there will be some foam on the top, and this just helps skim the foam off the top, and a ladle to fill the jars, your wand to get the lids, your headspace measure, your canning funnel, and then a paper towel to make sure you can wipe the rims off the jar. So you can get that ready and also get your lids ready, and not to mention your canner ready while you wait for this to go ahead and boil. Okay, so now it's to a roaring boil, and you can tell because when you stir it, it doesn't disturb the boil. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and you want to dump your sugar in. You want to stir as it does that. And you want to stir it real well while you allow it to come back to another full boil. And just keep stirring it. Okay, so now it's come to a full boil. So you want to let it boil for about 1 minute or so. And then once that's done, you want to test it to make sure it's going to set. So we're going to let it boil while we stir it here. Okay, so now it's been a minute, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my stove off. I'm going to take a spoonful and put it into a small dish or plate or whatever. I'll let that sit, and then once it kind of cools down, we'll be able to check the set. Another thing you can do while you're waiting for that to set is you just take a slotted spoon and you kind of skim the foam off. And as you can see, there's not much foam here, but once this sits for a while, there might be some. So I'm just gonna, oh, there we go, there's some foam. So I'm just gonna wait. You don't have to worry about it cooling down too fast. It's gonna get, it's gonna stay plenty hot. But the foam just isn't really very attractive. One thing I wanted to make mention is that we like to call this our more socially responsible jam, because we used organic pears from our pear tree to make the juice, and then we use organic cane sugar as opposed to sugar beet sugar, because organic cane sugar is non-GMO, which unfortunately sugar beet sugar is GMO for the most part. It's the 3rd largest GMO crop in the United States. Okay, so you can check the set after it's sat here for a little while. You can kind of see it's already gelling up, but the way you check it is you just take your finger and you run it through, and as you can see, when I pull it up on there, it leaves what's called like a snail trail or whatever you want to call it. And as you can see, it's setting up real nice. So there you go. It's probably hard to see. Sorry, I used a brown plate there. But then the other thing you want to do, like I said, is just make sure you skim as much foam off the top as possible. Just makes the jam look a little bit more appetizing. So I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff out of the way. I'm just going to give it another quick stir. Make sure everything's well combined before we start putting it in the jars. Okay, so we are ready to fill our jars. So I have our jars here, and this makes either 3 pints or about 6 half pints. So we're gonna fill some pints, and we have a half pint there, just depending on what we end up with. We put our jars in the canner to keep them warm. And I'm gonna go ahead and get this started here. Okay, and we need a 1/4 inch of headspace for this. So that is right here. Get our lid on. And again, you only want to just finger tighten the bands. You don't need to have any extreme sort of tightening. We're gonna get this back in the canner and get another jar filled. Okay, so we ended up with 2 full pints and then a half pint and a little bit extra. We're just gonna put that little bit extra into some Tupperware, put in the fridge, and we can use that. You wanna use that within about a week or 2 of doing it. So I'm gonna put the lid on, and as you can see, it's boiling. And I'm gonna set my timer for 10 minutes. Okay, so our timer just went off, and now it's time to take the jars out of the canner. You wanna make sure that you have when you put them on the surface, there's a towel or something between the jars and the counter or the table so that they don't get cold and break. And make sure you have a good grip on your jars. If you need to use a hot pad or something on the bottom to assist yourself, go ahead. Okay, so they're all set to go. We're gonna leave them like that for about 24 hours so they have a chance to cool completely. And then for whatever reason, even though you checked your set, if it's not set, you can reprocess it at that time. You can add a little more pectin, add lemon juice, and go ahead and reprocess it. Otherwise, you're set to go. You'll hear them make the ping noise. Sometimes, just depending on the temperature in your house, they might ping really quickly, like these ones did. And then you just take the rings off and go ahead and store them. You want to store them for about 1 year. When you're using a lot of natural fruit juices, if it's after a year, there's a chance it could get fermented. So you would definitely want to make sure that you keep it within that 1 year mark. Again, my name is Holly Baird, and this has been Canning What You Grow. To see all of the Canning What You Grow video series, you can visit our website, which is thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and you click on the Canning What You Grow icon.